Every year, on the same day, at the same time, he would return to this place. An old wooden bench under the same tree, in the same quiet corner of a town that had long forgotten him. His hands trembled now, not from the cold, not from the rain, but from the weight of 20 years. 20 years of hope, 20 years of waiting, 20 years of keeping a promise that the world told him to forget. But he never did. People would pass by and wonder, who was this old man? Why did he come here every single year? What was he waiting for? Some thought he was lost, some thought he was crazy, but none of them knew the truth. None of them knew about the promise made 2 decades ago. A promise between two young hearts who believed that time and distance could never break what they had built. He would arrive early, always early, wearing the same old coat, carrying the same faded hope in his chest. And he would wait, through rain, through wind, through the unbearable silence of absence. Year after year, season after season, he returned. Because a promise is a promise, even when the world moves on, even when everyone else forgets. But this year, something was different. This year, after 20 long years, someone finally came. But it wasn't her. And what this stranger told him would change everything he believed about love, loss, and the cruel beauty of waiting. This is the story of a man who waited 20 years, and the heartbreaking truth that arrived too late. 20 years ago, in a small town where everyone knew everyone, 2 souls met by accident. He was 17, quiet, a boy who lived in books and dreams. She was 16, bright, a girl whose smile could light up the darkest room. They met at the old train station, a place where most people said goodbye, but for them, it was where everything began. It started with a simple conversation, about nothing, about everything. She had missed her train. He offered to wait with her. Hours passed like minutes, and by the time her next train arrived, something had shifted, something neither of them could explain. From that day on, they were inseparable. They would meet at the same bench, under the same tree, in the same quiet corner where the world felt far away. They talked about their dreams, about the future, about all the places they would go and all the things they would become. She loved books. He loved the way she talked about them. He was afraid of change. She taught him that some things are worth the risk. They were young, they were fearless, and they believed that nothing could ever come between them. Months turned into a year, and with every passing day, their bond grew deeper. But life has a way of testing the things we hold most dear. One autumn evening, as the sun dipped below the hills and the air turned cold, she looked at him with eyes full of something he couldn't name. Fear, sadness, love. She told him her family was moving, far away, too far. She told him she didn't know when she'd be back, or if she'd ever be back. His world collapsed in that moment. But he didn't let her see it. Instead, he held her hand, and he made a promise. A promise that would define the next 20 years of his life. No matter how long it takes, he said, no matter where life takes us. We'll meet here again, 20 years from today, same place, same time. She smiled through her tears. I promise, she whispered. And with that, she was gone. He watched her train disappear into the distance, and he made a silent vow. He would wait, no matter what. The first year was the hardest. Every day felt like a battle between hope and doubt, between faith and fear. He tried to move on. His friends told him to. His family told him to. She's not coming back, they said. You're wasting your life. But he couldn't let go. He wouldn't. So he waited for the anniversary, the day they made their promise. When it finally came, he dressed carefully. He arrived early. He sat on the same bench under the same tree. And he waited. Hours passed. The sun set. The air grew cold. She didn't come. But he told himself it was okay. It had only been 1 year. Maybe she couldn't make it yet. Maybe next year. The second year came. He returned. Same place. Same hope. She didn't come. The third year. The fourth. The fifth. Each year, the hope grew quieter, but it never died. People started to notice. The strange young man who came to the same spot every year, who sat alone, who waited for no one. Some laughed, some felt sorry for him, but none of them understood. This wasn't about logic. This wasn't about whether she would come or not. This was about a promise. And promises aren't meant to be broken, even when the world tells you they already have been. By the 10th year, his hair had started to gray. By the 15th, his walk had slowed. The town around him changed. New buildings rose, old faces disappeared, the world moved forward. But he remained, a constant in a sea of change. Every year he would sit on that bench, and every year he would remember. Her laugh, her voice, the way she looked at him that last evening. And every year, as the sun set and the day ended without her, he would whisper the same words. "I'll see you next year." Because hope, even when it hurts, is better than forgetting. Some people called him a fool. Others called him romantic. But to him it was simple. He had made a promise, and he would keep it, even if it took a lifetime, even if she never came. Because some loves don't end when people leave. They live on in the quiet spaces between heartbeats. 20 years had passed. He was no longer the young boy who made that promise. Time had carved lines into his face. Gray had claimed his hair. His steps were slower now. But his heart still remembered. On the morning of the 20th anniversary, he woke before dawn. His hands shook as he buttoned his coat, the same coat he wore every year, worn now, faded, like him. He picked up a small bundle of flowers, white roses, her favorite. The walk to the bench took longer than it used to. His legs weren't what they were, but he didn't mind. He had waited 20 years. A few more minutes didn't matter. When he arrived, the place looked different. The tree had grown. The bench had weathered. The town around it had changed beyond recognition. But the feeling was the same. He sat down slowly, placed the flowers beside him, and closed his eyes. For a moment he let himself imagine. What if today was the day? What if, after all these years, she finally came? What would he say? Would she recognize him? Would she still have the same smile? Or had time changed her too? He opened his eyes and stared at the empty path ahead. The sky was gray. Rain clouds gathered overhead. A soft drizzle began to fall. He didn't move. He had waited through worse. Minutes turned into an hour. An hour turned into 2. And then he heard footsteps. His heart stopped. Someone was coming. He turned slowly. His breath caught in his throat. A young woman, walking toward him, holding an umbrella. For one impossible second, his mind played tricks on him. Her face, her walk, it looked so familiar. Could it be? Had she come? Had she kept her promise after all? The woman stopped a few steps away. She looked at him with kind, sad eyes. And then she spoke. "Excuse me? Are you waiting for someone?" Her voice was soft, gentle, but it wasn't her voice. He blinked. Reality settled in. "I was," he said quietly. "A long time ago." The woman stepped closer. She was holding something, an old envelope, yellowed with age. "I think," she said, her voice breaking, "this is for you." His hands trembled as he took the envelope. It was old. The paper was fragile, but the handwriting, he would recognize it anywhere. It was hers. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. The young woman's eyes filled with tears. "I'm her daughter," she said. The world stopped. Her daughter. "My mother told me about you," she continued. "She told me about this place, about the promise you made." He couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. "She wanted to come back," the daughter said, her voice breaking. "She tried. For years she tried." "Then why?" he started, but the words died in his throat. "She got sick," the daughter said softly. "When I was young, she fought it for a long time, but she didn't need to finish." He understood. "She never forgot you," the daughter whispered. "Even at the end, she made me promise that if she couldn't come, I would." Tears streamed down his weathered face. "She wrote you this letter years ago. She wanted you to have it on the 20th year." With shaking hands, he opened the envelope. Inside was a single page, her handwriting, faded but clear. He read slowly, every word a knife, every sentence a memory. She had loved him. She had waited too. She had wanted nothing more than to keep her promise. But life had other plans. She apologized for not being strong enough, for not making it back, for leaving him to wait alone. But she thanked him too, for keeping the promise, for never forgetting, for loving her in a way that time could never erase. At the end of the letter, one final line: "Some promises live forever, even when we can't." He folded the letter carefully, held it to his chest. The rain had stopped. A soft light broke through the clouds. He looked at the daughter. She had her mother's eyes. "Thank you," he whispered, "for bringing her back to me." The daughter nodded, placed a single white rose on the bench, and then she was gone. He sat alone once more. But this time it felt different. She had waited too. She had loved him too. And in the end, she had kept her promise. In the only way she could. Some people wait a lifetime for love. He did. And even though she never came, she never truly left.